Hey, this is Mike from Minimal 3DP, and today I'm continuing work on my Voron and using Ellis's print tuning guide to get everything all set up. And today I'm going to be working on the pressure advance. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, if we go to the tuning guide and then go to pressure advance / linear advance, there's several different methods here. Now, if we look at these carefully, there's the pattern method, tower method, and lines method. The lines method is deprecated, at least in Ellis's mind, which I agree with. Let's take a quick look at the tower model, which again, this one's pretty common, but again, Ellis points out that he believes that this exaggerates bulging and creates the PA value that's too high. And a lot of this is based on the way it's set up in the klipper pressure guide. He strongly recommends that we use the pattern method. So with that in mind, we're going to use the pattern method. And that's what I'll go over. And personally, I like the pattern method. It uses less filament, and I believe it's pretty quick. Now, just to point out, that this works with both klipper and marlin, as well as riprap. The only issue is in marlin, you have to enable linear advance within the firmware. And it should be noted that not all printers, if you're using the default firmware, have pressure advance enabled. So we'll take a quick look down here. Whoops. We'll take a quick look over at the pattern method. And what we're going to do is go to the calibration tool, create a model, and then print it. And then based on the print, we'll take a look and decide where the sharpest corners are and fewest artifacts. So I'm just going to open up the calibration tool, and let's take a look at the code, and we'll put in our values here. So I'm just going to set this up for my printer. The nozzle diameter, we have all that. And let's take a look at how I have the extrusion multiplier set up right now, and then we'll look at what values we need to use. Now you'll notice in Orca Slicer, currently I have the flow rate / extrusion multiplier set to 0.98. So we're actually good to go with the default value here. Let's look at the travel speed. And again, looking at how I have that set up in Orca Slicer. And we need to go down here, and let's go to speed and the travel speed. Travel I have set to 350, so let's set that up here. So I'm just copying these settings. The retraction distance, let's look at that in the slicer. Retraction speed is 30, retraction distance is 0.8. Again, let's set that up. So we're just going to go, distance is 0.8. 30, and I believe the unretract speed or detract speed is again 30. We'll compare that in our slicer. And then we have the travel distance threshold, I believe is the next one, or was it Z-hop? I'll have to go look. So we have Z-hop height, and let's see what that was. I think that's 0.4. So our Z-hop height is again 0.4. So let's set that. So we're going to scroll down now, and my first layer height is 0.3. So I want to change this. I'm going to leave these values as is. First layer speed. Let's take a quick look over here at Orca. So I'm going to scroll up to the top here. First layer speed, I have it set to 50. So let's bump that up. I have the fan at 0. The print speed, let's take a quick look again at Orca. And I think the normal speed I have here, let's just put 120. I think that'll be okay. So it's 50. And then let's do 200. Acceleration, we'll hit that. And let's look at how we have this set. The acceleration for normal printing is 5,000. So we'll use that value. Layer height, we'll do 0.2. And we'll do 100% on the fan speed. For the pressure advance, I'm using a direct drive. So we'll start at 0. We'll go up to 0.08 with an increment of 0.005. You'll use these different values if you're using a Bowden tube. Now my bed temp, I'll leave this at 60. And I'm just going to go to 220 here. And scrolling down, I've looked at this start code. I believe this should be all right, but let's take a look at my start code and maybe I will replace that. So I'm just going to go here again, the printer, go to machine G code. I do have dynamic variables in here. So I've pasted my code in. Now it's looking like that moved my bed temperature and my hot end temperature down. So that's looking correct. And let me download this code again and we'll re-upload. So I've downloaded, let's go over to my G-code files and then let's re-upload the new one and we'll see if this works. Let's switch back over, take a look at the printer and hopefully we'll be homing, and it is. So let me let this continue and then we'll see what she looks like. So the printer has completed. I have my model done and we're going to try to take a look at where the sharpest corners are. So I'm looking at the sharpest point here. And then with the sharpest point, I'm also looking for the least gapping or anything pulling away. If I look down here at the bottom, I'm seeing some thinning down in here. I'm looking at this, and in my case, it's hard to see these numbers, but that's 0.1, 0.2, 0.3. And if I look at the 0.3, in that area, I think that actually looks really good. I don't see much gapping. I think the corners look sharp. All the layers are close together. So I'm going to go with 0.3 for my pressure advance. Again, nice and simple. And using the diagram that Ellis provides, you can real quickly, again with this, once you look at it, figure out exactly what your pressure advance should be. Now, you can go really exacting with the pressure advance. I don't. I usually just pick the 0.3. I could sit here and start adding stuff up, but I'm just going to go with the 0.3, and I think for the most part that would be okay. So to do that, I'm going to open up Orca Slicer, and let me switch to my display so we can see it. And you're simply going to go to your filament section. We're going to click filament, the very first tab. We're going to check the enabled pressure advance. And then on your pressure advance, I'm putting 0.03. So basically, I have my pressure advance set. I'm not going to enable the adaptive pressure advance. I'll probably do a video in the future on that. I need to do some more research on that and I don't want to mess with it. But right now, I feel like this 0.03 value is good for this printer. Now I'm also going to point out that this is a per filament setting. So if you're using PETG, ABS, or any other filaments, you probably want to go through and run the pressure advance tests. Now my next video, let's go over to Ellis's website. I'm going to be taking a look at the extrusion multiplier. And again, that's a per filament setting as well. If you have any questions or comments about pressure advance, please let me know. I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks. Have a good day. Bye. This is Mike again. If you're having trouble with your 3D printer, I'm putting a link in the video description of how you can schedule a 15-minute consult with me. I'm more than happy to sit down with you, see if we can figure out what the problem is, see if we can get your printer rolling. Also, if you would like to support the channel, I've enabled memberships. And so for a small monthly contribution, you can help support my work. Now, ideally, what I'm going to do is use any money, and same for the advertising I get for the channel. I'm going to use that to buy more 3D printers and more equipment and more technology that I could use here on the channel. If you have any questions or comments, please post below, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.